button. So we are now recording for educational and promotional purposes. So I'd like to welcome you all to our introduction to the empathy training, introduction and orientation to the Empathy Circle and the Empathy Circle Facilitation Training. I'm Edwin Rutch. I'm the director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy. And our center has been, is one of the largest, has one of the largest websites for empathy related material on the internet. And I've been working on this topic of, how do we create a more empathic society for about 14 years now. And what we're going to be doing is introducing you to the Empathy Circle process and to the training. And I'm going to just show a little bit of do a screen share here of the outline of our meeting today. So we're going to start off with the welcome, which I'm doing now. We usually do, if we have a smaller group, we have participant introductions, but since we're a larger group, we'll be doing that in the empathy circles, the breakout rooms. We're going to go through and share the website about the training. We'll be reviewing sort of step by step how you can take part in the training. We'll have some time for questions and answers, and then we'll show a short 6-minute video on how to take part in an empathy circle. And then we'll be doing, since we're a larger group, we'll be doing a Fishbowl empathy circle for maybe 20 minutes or so to just to give you a chance to see how it works with some of the fellow participants here. And then depending on the time, we'll be doing breakout circles where we go into smaller groups. So we want to give everyone a chance to practice, get a bit of experience with the empathy circle. Because this training is very experiential and the empathy circle is very experiential. It's not just a lecture. And then we'll come back and have a full group debrief. And overall, it takes about close to 2 hours for this session. So I will just say that the empathy circle, having worked for about, like I said, 14 years on empathy building practices, our center is wanting to create a more empathic world and society, because we just feel that if we can raise the level of empathy in the world, it's just going to create greater well-being for everyone. And I've just found that this empathy circle practice is the best sort of first step gateway practice to developing empathy skills. And what we want to do next is, well, let's just go through. I'll just have call on the facilitators just to say, why you're here, where you're calling from, and why you're interested in supporting the empathy circle and the training. And I'll just model it. I'm Edwin Rutch from the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy here in the San Francisco Bay Area. And I find that the empathy circle is the best first step gateway practice. And I just want everyone in the world to be able to learn this practice. So Celine, would you just do a quick intro?
Sure. I live in the United States, in the state of Oregon, in the southern part of the state. And I have a lifetime of work as an educator and as a peace activist, as a mediator, and as a teacher of nonviolent communication as well. And the empathy circles for me is, like Edwin said, a first step for anyone who wants to work in any of those fields.
Thank you. Thank you. Larry, would you like to introduce yourself?
I'm Larry in Florida, just north of Daytona, and I'm a retired occupational therapist with a deep concern of our planet and environment. And to me, it's clear that an empathic way of being is really needed by all of us to help take care of this beautiful, beautiful planet that we live on. So I love the empathy circles. Thank you.
Thanks, Larry. Bill?
Yeah, my name is Bill Filler. I'm a retired special education teacher. I live here in Northern California. I've been working with Edwin on the empathy circles for about 4 years. I'm particularly interested in getting this as a practice for schools so kids would learn how to listen. And if you're interested in following up, I have a Thursday thing, and that's that's my information there. And I'm really happy to be here. Thank you. And sorry about the interruption.
Yeah, thanks, Bill. Raid, would you just introduce yourself?
Sure. Rad Hamzi. I'm from Arizona. I'm the latest graduates of the Empathy Circles, so enjoying being with people and having open discussions.
Thank you. So what we want to do next is we have our website for the Empathy Circle Facilitation Training. And Bill is going to be doing a screen share and sharing the website and just reviewing the website and how you can take part in the training.
Okay. And so this is the landing page that you'll see here. You can see up here, here's a link. And you can see to the left, these are all the cohorts that we have, course references. So pretty much everything that you would need, you can kind of click through and kind of check that out. So this is an open source empathy training. You can use this or adapt this to anything that you're doing. As Edwin says, this is a good basic practice. It establishes, I think, a good community feeling and trust. And from there, you can kind of take it off into different things. There's no cost to take part, however, and we're all volunteering. However, our food is not free, neither is our rent. So please be respectful of that. If you want to help, you can donate through in PayPal and or click on this link here. Let's see. We have, if you're interested in taking the facilitation training, now that's a little bit different from the circle itself, and that's how to run a breakout room, which you'll see today. If you want to take that training, there's a 2 Empathy Circle prerequisite. So this is one of your circles. You can take do another, come to another cafe, or you can hold one with a friend, a buddy call or something like that, and we will trust you. That's on the honor system, but that's time commitment. This has been a real issue in some cases. This module consists of 5 sessions of 2.5 hours each. So before you sign up, please see, if you really can make all of the trainings. We have a certain kind of numbers thing that we do, and to get everybody cycled through. So if people drop out or they don't come, it really kind of throws us off. And again, we're volunteering our time, so please be respectful of that if you decide to take the facilitation training. You can come back to these empathy cafes. This is a drop-in as many times as you want. You could be here today, then come in a month later. So that's another thing you can do if you feel that you just want to get more of an experience before you make that commitment. The training path. Each cohort is now an ongoing cohort that repeats every 5 weeks. That's the length of the sessions. And then we take a break and we have some of these open empathy cafes. Right now, the days for that are Monday, like now. There was a cohort at this time that now is in hiatus, and then will come up again. Edwin will give you all of that information too. And then also on Saturdays, when we have 2 cohorts running on Saturdays and Mondays at the same time, then we have an open cafe on Fridays. All of these times, by the way, are 10 a.m. Pacific time. Okay, so if you want to sign up, you can see here's the cohort 12 and 13. Those are the ones that are ongoing. And then the newest ones are like A, B, C, D, et cetera. Just to give you a little overview of what the training is about, there's module 1. There are happy people doing jazz hands. And what we do here is we have an introduction. We give you an overview of the training. We talk about the building a culture of empathy, some of the values that we think that are part of that, and then we go on. Then we quickly get you into practicing facilitation and also introducing the mechanics of the process, which you'll see. The third session is also another how-to, but going right into facilitation. And you can also pick challenges. Now, challenges, part of the design of this course is so that you could go at your own pace. You can ask for no challenges if you want, and you can take the training as many times as you want. So, you know, if you feel that you're not ready for something, just say no challenges or something, and then you can wait, and you can get challenges when you take the cohort again, if that's the way you wish. And people have done that, and actually excellent facilitators too. They're excellent. Session 4, we dispense with the how-to, and then we go into facilitation with challenges. And in these debriefing, the breakout circles, we allow some time for questions and answers and things like that. And then 5 is sort of like a debrief and feedback. We're not doing challenges. We just kind of have some fun, enjoy the circle and each other, and then get some sort of, you know, ideas about that. Edwin, as he said, has tremendous amount of references here all over. If you're interested in empathy, I would say this is probably the best place to go. Here are some of the things that you can then click through, the values, a simple how-to, and it tells you the mechanics of the circle. We also have ongoing facilitator support. And here's an application and session feedback, emails. I would just say that the facilitators are excellent people. I think just really excellent people. And every time I've put out a call for facilitators, everybody's answered. And I've seen that with everybody. So I'm really, really impressed by that. And again, here's some more references, the calendar, gateway website, empathycircle.com. And you can kind of take a look and click through those. And I believe I've gone through. Edwin, did I miss anything?
On the left side, you could click on, it says on the left, it says cohort sign up on the far left, and then cohort up.
Yeah.
And then, so you can see the individual cohorts. The next one starting will be on Monday. So actually, if you click on the Monday one,
right,
do the drop, there's a drop down. And then the next cohort is, I think it's C.
C, okay.
Yeah, so you go through there, and you can see the sign up, the application. So that's this where you go and do the sign up for the cohort. That's going to be starting. It will start September 20th. That's our next cohort that's starting. So that's where you go to sign up, and I think we have 6 spaces still free for that cohort. So you want to sign up soon if you want to get a spot there.
Okay, and then the contact, I won't leave that on screen too long.
Yeah, all the steps there are there for signing up.
Okay. All right, and I will stop the share now and give it back to Edwin.
Yeah, you want to do the Q&A?
Oh, sure. All right, I can do that. Are there any questions? And hopefully I'll provide the A or all of us. And if you see ECF behind our names, that means Empathy Circle Facilitator. So any of us can actually answer those questions. So there's a little reactions. And if you click on reactions at the bottom, I don't know if in the phone has a raise hand. And so if you have a question, then feel free to raise your hand. And there's a thumbs up. Donnie, is that a question, or did you hit the wrong thing there? No question, just like you like it. All right. So, all right. Okay. Anything? I don't see any. Melissa, I see that you, no? Okay, nothing? All right. All right. I guess there are no questions that I can see.
Okay, yeah, you can post in the chat too if you have some questions. We can come back to those.
Right.
Okay, so next we want to describe how the Empathy Circle works. So it's going to be a short intro video, and let me do a screen share and share that. Optimize for sound. So this is the process for how you take part in an empathy circle, sort of a step-by-step. And here we go. Founding Director of the Center for Building a Culture of Empathy. I'd like to welcome you to this short presentation on how to take part in a basic empathy circle. So next, let's look at the step-by-step how to take part. An empathy circle starts with 2 to 7 participants. Here on the screen, we have 4 participants, which I find is an ideal number. There are 4 basic roles, and the roles rotate among the participants as the empathy circle unfolds. 1, the speaker, is the first person to speak. 2 is active listener who actively listens to the speaker. There's the silent listeners, they quietly observe and witness. And the facilitator who organizes, schedules, and hosts the circle. They also do the timekeeping, and they have some experience with the process and help keep participants in the process. However, everyone has the responsibility to hold the process and the practice. So to begin with, the facilitator will start the empathy circle. They welcome the participants. They lead introductions if the participants don't know each other. The facilitator invites participants to give short introductions, for example, their name, where they're from, and something personal about themselves. The facilitator then reviews the empathy circle process to remind everyone how it works. They announce the discussion topic, if there is one. Even if there is a topic, you can always talk about what is alive for you. That is what is on your mind in the moment. And 5, they set the speaker time limits, perhaps 5 minutes, for example. And the facilitator then asks who would like to start to be the first speaker. So at that point, the participant volunteers to be the first speaker. As speaker, you select who will be your active listener, and you can select anyone that you want. You speak about the topic given or whatever is alive for you. And so you'll speak a bit until you have maybe expressed an idea or two. And then you want to pause to give the active listener a chance to recap what they understand that you are saying and feeling. If you say too much, the listener may have difficulty in reflecting it. As the active listener, you are listening to the speaker to get an understanding of what they're saying and what is important to them. You are giving them your full attention as a supportive companion on their inner journey and exploration. When the speaker pauses, you recap your understanding of what they said and how they feel by reflecting the essence of that in your own words. You can summarize, paraphrase, or even say the speaker's words back to them. Even though you may have a strong impulse to respond with your own ideas, judgments, analysis, advice, and sympathy, or even questions, resist the impulse to do so because these common responses block the speaker from moving along their internal journey. You will be able to say whatever you want when it is your turn to be the speaker. If you don't reflect the understanding to the speaker's satisfaction, they can always say it again. Then as speaker, you check, do you feel understood to your satisfaction? If you do not feel understood, you can say it again, perhaps in different words. If you do feel understood, continue sharing. Again, after speaking a bit, pause to give your active listener a chance to recap their understanding of what you said. As the active listener, you again share your understanding of what the speaker said and meant. The cycle of speaking and reflecting continues until you, as the speaker, do not have anything else you'd like to say, or until you get a signal from the timekeeper. If you get a signal from the timekeeper, then finish up what you're saying in a sentence or two. After you get a final reflection, you can end your turn by saying something like, "I feel fully heard," or something like that to indicate you are done with your speaking turn. At that point, the roles then rotate. The active listener becomes the speaker. The person they select becomes the new active listener. For everyone having equal time, it is good to select someone that hasn't spoken lately, but it is your choice. The others in the circle become the silent listeners. This process of taking turns in speaking and active listening continues for whatever time is allotted for the empathy circle. And this was just a very short introduction. The best way to learn the practice is taking part and doing it. There is more in-depth material on taking part in an empathy circle and facilitating one at empathycircle.com. Thank you for listening. Okay, so that's the basic how-to instructions. There, if you go to the empathycircle.com website, there's also a link there to how to take part in an empathy circle and a lot more information. There's a 9-minute how-to video. There's a 24-minute how-to video that really goes into much more depth. And then there's also a PDF and some sample videos there of the process. So we want to do next is do a fishbowl. So if you're interested, if you would like to take part in we'll do a little mini empathy circle here for maybe 20 minutes or so. And then we'll go out into some breakout rooms as well. So Celine is going to lead this mini empathy circle, and raise your hand if you go to down below to the reactions. Let me see if I can find that. There's a little button that says reactions, and raise your hand like that. Yes, I see Deo did it already. So that indicates that you're willing to take part in this fishbowl, and that you can, and keep your hands up too, because you'll be, yeah, go ahead, Celine, you could, yeah, take that over.
Okay, so I think we have 3 people already, and that's probably going to work. And it would be very helpful if you can put your video camera on. It's much easier to relate. So that would be wonderful. Deo, are you? Oh, good.
Oh, and
So
Celine, if you could put your hand up too, that'll move you to the top, if so.
Oh, yeah.
So then everybody who has their hand up moves to the top, so it's easy to see each other.
Gosh, I'm not even finding the hand.
Yeah, if you go straight down, there's a little button that says reactions. You click on that.
I have that, but I have a different hand.
Edmund, there was a question posted in the chat.
Oh, could you read that, Luke?
Yeah, the question is, thank you for explaining the mechanics of the empathy circle, but what is the purpose of an empathy circle? What is the expected outcome? What are the expectations, if any? Okay,
I can answer that quickly. So the empathy circle fosters mutual understanding and connection. So it's one of the best ways to really hear and empathize with each other. So you really learn empathy skills of listening to others deeply, and it's a real foundation from that mutual understanding. You can have better personal support, like for example, the counseling. If you're familiar with any form of counseling or therapy, the basics essence of that is empathic listening. And if you're familiar with, some people here are interested in mediation, it's core to the mediation. If you have people who are in conflict with each other and you bring them into an empathy circle, it's amazing how well that can work through conflict. So those are just a few of the benefits. There's other benefits. For example, human-centered design. The design community uses empathy with the assumption, or just from the experience, that if you create anything to support people, you need to understand what you're creating, how it's going to impact them. And that's where empathy is important. And this skill of empathic listening is just a really excellent, effective first step practice. So yeah. So Celine, you're back to you.
Okay. So I love the enthusiasm and everything I'm seeing in the chat, but I'm not going to be able to look after we start our circle. One suggestion was that people who are not in the circle turn their video off, which might not be a bad idea. It helps see who is in the circle. And I also saw something about active listening and so on. And that is exactly what we're doing. This is a very structured process. And what we are practicing is active listening, being present to each other. So we will get started. And the topic of what we're going to talk about today is what is your interest in the empathy circles and empathy? What does it mean for you, or anything that is alive for you? So there's always that choice. The speaker can talk about anything they want when it's their turn. And I will be the first listener, active listener. And I'm getting my timekeeping phone ready. When your time is up, I will put up this sign and you can finish your sentence. You don't have to, stop in the middle of a word or phrase or something. As speaker, we ask that you express maybe one or two ideas at a time and then pause so that the listener can reflect back. And when I am the listener, I might do this to remind you to pause so that I can track everything that you're saying. So we're ready. We're going to go for about 20 minutes.
Oh.
In 3-minute turns. I'll keep track of the time. And I participate. That's another thing about these circles is equality is a big value for us. And the facilitator participates also as a listener and as a speaker. And then with the additional task of keeping track of the time and making sure the process is held together. So I will be your first listener, and you can volunteer to be the first speaker. Who will do that? We have Gary, Dio, and Sally.
I'll go first.
Okay, great. Thank you. This is
Yes.
Gary. Okay.
I'm Gary Barker. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
I'm Gary Barker. I'm from the Oregon area. I'm from Portland, Oregon. I work for a street newspaper, which is called Street Roots. My main reason for joining the Empathy Circle and wanting to become a facilitator is that we work with unhoused and housed communities, and we have civil liberty meetings. I think this format would be a great format to have the civil liberty meetings where they could all hear each other and really listen to each other and learn how to work cohesively together, because we have an abundance of homelessness problem going on in Portland.
Can you pause a minute so I can reflect back what I heard? Thank you, Gary. So I heard that you live in Portland, Oregon, and you work with a street newspaper. You work with street groups. This is housed and unhoused people, and you have meetings where civil liberties are discussed, and you think that these skills, this process would be very helpful in your work.
Yes, exactly what I'm saying. And the reason why I say that, because I think empathy was the start of our foundation to mankind, because the world was built on empathy. And somehow, some way, we've gotten so far away from being empathetic that this will at least start the seed for empathy to start spreading, where people care for one another again.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I hear that you think that empathy is a foundation for people, for mankind, and that the world originally was built on empathy, but somehow we have lost that, and that it's important to bring it back.
Yes, exactly what I'm saying. And that's my main purpose for joining this empathy circle, because I feel the same as most of you do feel, that it's a starting point to making mankind a better place, and so we can solve all our problems as far as communicating and economical and ethical problems.
So that's why you're here, because you feel that this kind of practice, it will solve all of our problems, political, economic, if we can just talk and listen to each other.
Correct. And that's it for me.
All right. Thank you very much, Gary. So now I am the speaker, and I will ask one of you to listen to me. And I will ask Sally. Sally, would you be willing to listen to me?
Sure.
Okay.
My battery is running low, so I'm going to keep my visual off right now.
Oh, I see. Okay. Well, if at any moment you want to show us your face, you can. And I'm going to go ahead and start.
Fine. I can turn it on periodically.
Sure. That sounds good. Thank you. Okay. So I think what I am most excited about with regard to the empathy circles is that it teaches how to have people with very different opinions be able to listen to each other. And I have experienced this. I've had circles where one person is a QAnon person and the other one is a very, liberal person. And they were able to be in the circle because it feels so good to be heard. It feels so good to say what is important to us and have somebody hear that. And so with that, there was no need to argue or try to convince anybody. So that's what I really love about the empathy circles. And I will pause there so Sally can reflect back.
You love the empathy circles, and you've experienced empathy where just an amazing combination of people from different points of view can sit down together and peacefully communicate. You mentioned QAnon, and someone on the liberal side can both be heard and feel like they can, and the process of listening skills improves the ability for understanding between, or it builds understanding between different groups.
Yeah, thank you, Sally.
Okay.
And I'll just say one little thing, my time is almost up, is that I also recently had an opportunity with my grown son in a conversation where he was bringing up something that I had done that had been painful for him. And I just reflected it back. I didn't explain, I didn't defend. I just said back what he said, and it was so satisfying for him to be heard in that way. And that's the skill that I learned here in the empathy circles. Okay, go ahead, Sally. My time's almost up.
You had a conversation with your son where he heard something that was painful to him from you, and then he said how he felt about it, and then all you did is reflect back what he felt about what you said, and in the reflection it gave him a sense of peace and calmness, and it was very fulfilling to him
Yeah.
to have that experience.
Thank you, Sally. That I feel fully heard. That was wonderful. Thank you. So now, Sally, you will be the speaker and you will ask someone to be your listener.
Okay, not too sure who's in the group.
So you get to choose Dio, Gary, or myself.
Okay, and did Gary speak yet?
Gary did speak. Dio has not spoken yet.
Okay, Dio, I asked you to be my active listener. And I'll let you see what I look like. Okay. I had an experience with my brother, Lenny, with the Empathy Circle a couple days ago. And the thing when you deal with a family member and you're the youngest in the family, everything you say or do is, you know, not, you're just the youngest and not subject to consideration as valid.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So you said you joined this empathy group because you have had an experience with your brother. As the youngest member in the family, you feel you were not treated equally in the sense that anything you do or say, you feel you are not heard. Is that correct?
In a way, it's just a learning experience for him. And so I explained to him when he was, you know, maybe not following the protocol, what the understood protocol is, and that it took me a couple years to catch on, and that there was nothing to be concerned about. And so it gave him a sense of connection and warmth so we could go on. And we were talking about his son in front of his son in a condescending manner.
So while you said while you were at these empathy therapy session with your brother, you felt finally he's able to listen to you, and then you were discussing this issue in front of his son in a kind of condescending manner.
Yes, that he
Thank you, Sally. Your time is up.
okay. Yes, it's gonna get worse. All right, go
So
ahead.
can you tell Dio you've been heard, and then we will move on?
Oh, Dayu, I feel fully heard, and yes, now it's your turn to be speaker, and you pick someone to talk to.
So
Thank you, Sally.
I'll be the speaker.
Yeah, let me just jump in real quick. Also, raise your hand. We could have some more people in the fishbowl. So if you'd like to be in the fishbowl, you can. We need some more. Yeah, see, I just see
Okay.
Donnie just
Donnie.
joined.
Okay.
And if you could turn your video on, Sophia and Donnie. Oh, there you are. Hi. Yeah, perhaps speak to Donnie just as a new person.
So I'm going to be the speaker, and I want Donnie to be the active listener.
Okay.
I joined this empathy group to kind of acquire probably a cognitive skills or holistic approach on how to handle conflict.
So you join this group to acquire some cognitive skills, and so you can implement it and apply it to your life when you are speaking with people. And you want to try a new approach to listening with empathy.
That I am from Nigeria, but I've been living in Finland for a while now. And there is a lot of conflict within the Nigerian community here in Finland. As the General Secretary of the association, I'm kind of looking for an approach where I could make everybody have a sense of belonging.
So you're from Nigeria and you're living in Finland right now, where there's lots of conflict. And so right now you're trying to find an approaching way that you can share with others so that they can work through their conflicts and solve the conflict in Nigeria.
No, the Nigerian community here.
The Nigerian community.
Yeah, the Nigerian community here in Finland.
In Finland, okay. Yes, the Nigerian community in Finland, the conflict in there. You're trying to find a new approach to to fix the conflict in Finland.
And how we could work together.
And how you can cooperate.
Exactly.
Okay.
So thank you for listening. I feel heard. You are the next speaker, Donnie. You can choose an active listener.
Okay.
So I see several hands. Gary, Sopadla, and Tracy, and myself. You can choose. And Sal.
I'll choose Tracy. Hi, Tracy. I am I'm the speaker, and I chose Tracy to be the active listener. So the reason why I'm interested in empathy and the empathy circles and training, or whatever it is alive for me, is because I think this validation and free association helps make a place for truth and reconciliation. As a First Native person, this is why I'm so interested in it, to let people hear the truth about systemic racism and to not be oppressed.
Tracy, you're muted.
Tracy.
See, I said a whole beautiful statement and you all missed it. No, I think if I heard you correctly, you consider taking this course because you wanted to address systemic racism within your immediate culture.
Yes, sort of, through the empathetic approach.
Okay.
Yes. As lots of Indigenous women go missing, not only for race.
I'm sorry, can you repeat that? I think I lost you or you broke up.
This is for also Indigenous people who go missing, and not only for racism, but for the gender and orientation. These circles can help connect these real issues and the nature of reality.
Okay, so you feel that this particular approach could address not just systemic racism, but it could address missing women that have gone missing, and a wide range of other populations, indigenous populations, and other populations that are important to you.
Yes. Thank you. I feel like fully heard.
Good.
Okay, great. Thank you. Thank you, Donnie and Tracy. What do you think, Edwin? Shall we have one more turn or shall we?
Yeah,
move
one
on?
more turn, and
Okay.
then we'll go into a breakout room so we have more people can practice. And since Tracy's not on a cell phone, is on a cell phone, she may not see. There's who, maybe you could name some of the other people in the.
Oh,
There's
okay.
Kit Cole and
Kit
Gary
Cole,
and
Hunter,
Sopati.
yeah, and Sopadla. The ones who have, people who have not spoken are Kiko and Sopadla.
So Paula,
Okay, great.
Thank you, Tracy. I'm all
Hello.
ears.
so I actually decided to participate in Empathy Circle training just because of the way of the world as right now. All of the tension, the systemic racism, we need some empathy in our communities, regardless of wherever we may live, the people that we may encounter. So if I can shed some empathetic understanding to those that I work with, those that I live with, that this is the route that the approach that I would like to take.
All right. So what I heard is you are seeing a lot of challenges in the world, including racism, the way we behave, the way we communicate. So with the people whomever you are connected with, you want to share a better approach, and you feel empathy can bring that differences to connect with each other.
Exactly. Thank you. I feel heard.
Thank you, Tracy.
So now you may choose someone.
Well, let me check with Edwin. We may be going into the smaller groups and then you'll have another opportunity to participate.
Yeah, what we started was with a little bit of a fishbowl to model the practice, but we want to give as many people as possible a chance to practice. So we're going to go into breakout circles. So there'll be less people in the circles. You'll have more time to actually take part. We're going to have about maybe about 50 minutes in the circle, and I'll send a notice before we come back together. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 empathy circles, and whoever has an ECF after their name will be the facilitator, and they'll be the first listener in the circle. And our topic again is, why are you interested in empathy circle facilitator training, or whatever's alive for you. And let me just create the rooms here, and here we're going to go into those rooms now. So here we go. Okay, so this is our circle. There's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us here, and the others I think will be going into the other room. Tori, there's a link to join the other room, if you could click that, and I think Denise as well, if you could click on that link to join the other room. So I'm going to keep time, and let me just bring up my stopwatch here. And we'll have 3-minute turns. Let me just set the clock. Whoops. Sorry. Unless somebody else has the, there we go, set time. Okay, so I'll be the first listener, and this is also the sort of the weight room here. So if someone drops out of the call and comes back in, they'll be coming back through this room. And so Pada, since you were the last person to listen, I'll be your speaker, and then you have 3 minutes. So I'm listening. And our topic was why are you interested in the Empathy Circle and the Facilitator Training and empathy in general?
Yeah. Hey, thank you, Edwin, for this opportunity first. So basically, why I got interested in empathy is I'm currently working as a manager in an IT field. Most of the time, more than technical issues, I encounter my team will be having the different perspective. And the different perspective will be brought in such a way, nobody will listen to each other. Yeah, I'll take a pause over there.
Okay, so I'm hearing that you're in IT, and it sounds like in the team that you're in, people aren't listening to each other in that group.
Yeah, so basically when the people communicate to each other, already they come up with a prejudgmental kind of a tone or talk, gesture many times. And when they present their ideas, sometimes they will not build on others' idea. They will not even listen to others' ideas. At that time, the conflict will arise, and we will not optimally will result into a better solution.
So I'm hearing that you would like to have constructive dialogue where you're building towards, constructive, better solutions. But what's happening is that they're not listening to each other. And so when somebody says something, people don't listen and build on what they're saying. It's causing a lot of conflict because people are not feeling heard.
Yeah, this was the primary motive for me. But when I started to learn more about this, I started to learn non-violent ways of communication. I also see the problem in my family as well. Even my sister, my parents, whenever we talk, a lot of the time we'll bring our judgments so that we'll not hear them out.
So you're also, it's not only in your work environment, you started with your work environment, but then you're seeing in your family too, is there's a lot of judgments in your family and it's causing a lot of family issues.
Yeah, so I came here almost around 3-4 times now. So whatever I am learning, it's helping me both in personal and professional life. Yeah, that's my reason.
Yeah, so your reason is really to work on your professional life, using this for your professional and for your personal life. And you've been to several of these, and that's really your reason, is to have better communication in your family and work.
Yeah, thank you, Edwin. I feel fully heard. Thank you for being here.
Thanks. Then I'll speak to ask for help, Adel. Sorry, I just got a message that they need help. So I'll just say something. I'll speak to Kendra and then I'll go help them out. Yeah, I'm really excited that, a lot of people have been showing up. We had like 40 people come today, and it's just exciting to see so many people be interested in empathy and empathy circles.
So what I'm hearing you say, Edwin, is that you're really excited that so many people are taking this topic seriously, and you're excited that so many people are participating so that we can create more empathy.
And then also the insights, the reasons people are coming is really great. I just love what Zapato was saying. It's like, hey, I want this to work in my work environment. But, it's like if people have empathy circles in the work environment, that'll help the communications. And I do empathy circles in my family, and it really helps the family to hear each other and address conflicts. So I just love hearing all those reasons why people want to take part.
So what I'm hearing you also say is that you're really inspired by the fact that people are not only utilizing this for work purposes and things that they have to do in their technical lives and technical things for work, but also that is spilling over into, I can use this for work, and I can also use this for family. And as we all know, our work is our work families at times. So they can use it in dual places.
Exactly. I feel fully heard. And now it's your turn to select someone. And if someone could keep time too, I'm going to go check the other breakout room since I'm sort of the overall manager too. So you have 3 minutes to select your listener. I shall return.
Sure,
Okay.
I can take care of that.
Okay, thank you. It's 12:57 my time, so
Sorry, I got a call for help here. Does someone need help or?
Yeah, Adele was having problems with their audio for some reason.
Oh, not the audio's not working?
Yeah, I don't see that Adele's been. Sorry about that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know if there's anything, if they have audio, it's hard to, you
Yeah.
can go through and down at the bottom, there's on the left, it says mute, and then you can select a different microphone, try some different microphones is pretty much all you can do.
Yeah.
Okay, so you good
Okay.
with that? I don't know, there's.
I guess that's
chat.
just, yeah.
Yeah, in the chat, you can check if are you able to, Adele, write in the chat?
Yes, Adele is able to write in the chat. That's how I knew that they're having problems.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's the only thing I know of. Otherwise, you can try exiting and coming back in, or, checking selecting the microphone under the little, there's
Right.
that little up arrow next to the
Right.
mute. Those are the only thing. Otherwise, there might be some technical problems on their computer. So, okay, so I'll leave you
Okay.
to it. You're good.
Thanks. Okay, good. Okay. So sorry about the interruption.
the other reason why I want to, that I'm really interested in this empathy circle training is because I really do believe that as a mediator as well, I think creating these empathy circles will help absolutely when it comes down to the mediation process, and it'll limit conflicts with people at work.
Yeah, so you're thinking that using this as a mediator, using the empathy circles as a mediator will help you eliminate conflicts at work.
Absolutely. Yeah. I feel completely heard. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
And so now you can pick the next listener.
Oh, okay. Who's on here who hasn't spoken? And Holly, is that how you say your name?
It's Anjali.
Anjali. Okay. Hi, Anjali.
Hi.
I'm here. I was initially drawn to this class. I'm a parent educator and I teach validation. Empathy and validation are very connected. So I was interested in learning more about it. I also just personally, I'm very distraught at the world right now. And I've always believed that one-on-one conversations with people who think differently than you are the basics of solving a lot of the problems that we have in this world. So I was curious what the empathy circles looked like.
So hi, Janelle.
Hi.
What I heard, hi. So what I heard was that you study and you are interested in validation. That is something that you teach. I think that's what you said. And you are not very happy with how the world is communicating right now. And you think that empathy has a place in strengthening validation and making that experience better. Sometimes, it's more useful than the more like complicated ways in which human beings interact, such as war and other things. And so maybe you think that if human beings just listen to each other and empathize and did that is supposed to make people human, and a lot of things can come out of that.
Yeah, just the basically one-on-one speaking to each other, two different people from different places speaking and hearing each other, I think is the foundation of improving the world. And and just validation is similar to empathy. So I wanted to see how empathy was different. And also I just need to be a better listener. Active listening, my brain goes really fast. So practicing actually listening is something that I wanted to get out of this as well.
So what I'm understanding from what you said is that you also want to be a good listener. And that is part of a good conversation. So a good conversation is not just speaking and talking, it's also listening well.
Right. To do a better job at validation and empathy, you also need to be a good listener. So it's many reasons I'm here. I just love this concept, and for work, personally, everything. It's Fabulous.
Okay, thank you for sharing.
Oh, I feel fully heard. Thank you,
Okay, great.
Anjali.
Great. So I am the speaker now. I can choose anyone. I'll choose Edwin.
Listening.
Yeah. So I got interested in empathy because I studied moral emotions in graduate school. I was studying gratitude, so I was like thinking a lot about, how people, benefit in relationships because of that sometimes. So that wasn't my focus, but I was interested in that idea because it has implications for relationships. And then later on, I was studying conflict analysis. One thing that I wanted to really experience and understand was that, is it that when you have empathy training, that creates conditions of equality? Because in the real world, there are differences. So sometimes it's very difficult to bring people in the same room and have an empathy circle. So I wanted to experience. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm hearing you had done some studies of gratitude, and you sort of explored that, and you're interested in conflict resolution, and you have some curiosity about how the empathy circle actually helps, or why is it helping? What is it doing to help facilitate or mediate?
Yeah, and what comes first? Is it the empathy circle and then relationships and equality happens, or that you have the relationships and equality before and then? So I'm just trying to experience, how that works.
So you're kind of like wondering what comes first, the empathy or the relationship? Like where do you kind of get started?
Yes, exactly. So, yeah, I felt.
Okay, you still have a minute and a half if you have more.
Yeah, I think like just, getting to things like earlier in the process, earlier in the situation is so much better than because when I watch the news or everything that is happening in the world, I think it all happens because people don't communicate. And I know it's not that simple, but sometimes it's just like human beings need to communicate and understand where everybody's coming from. And if more of that happened, things would be a lot better.
So I think what I'm hearing is that before conflict, it would be good if people already were able to communicate with each other, because it might head off to conflict. And you're just seeing that there's so much conflict in the world, and that's just your ideas. People were communicating better with each other to begin with. That might head off conflict.
Yeah. So I feel heard.
Okay, great. Then I'll speak to Deo. Did I pronounce the name correctly? Deo? You're muted.
Hello?
Oh yeah, there. How do you pronounce your name again?
Dio.
Okay, Dio. So yeah, I'll speak to you. I really, I agree with that in terms of the conflict. It's good to have the empathy circle before you have the conflict. That would head off a lot of conflict. And I think that's why the empathy circle, like in a family, is very important, to be having regular empathy circles before there's a conflict, because you'll resolve conflicts before they really get started or get big.
So you said it's good to have an empathy before a conflict rather begin or because escalating to a bigger problem.
Exactly. And then if you have like an empathy circle, in one of the previous empathy circles, we had a topic of joy, like what brings you joy in your life? So you talk about positive experiences, and it feels really good to talk with your family members about what brings them joy, what's been going on in their life that brings joy. And then they get comfortable with the empathy circle and they develop trust in it.
Using a certain skills by asking people who are involved with this empathy circle about their emotional well-being, what brings them joy, why they are into this, also gives a better result in the end about the empathy circle.
And then if there is a conflict, people have the tools for talking through the empathy. You've developed trust and skills in the empathy circle. And so then it's easier to address conflict in that case. So that's why it's good to start right off, with, positive topics. You develop the skills and you can address conflicts as they arise.
So in other words, you said by using this idea of asking about people emotional well-being gives a very good foundation. Sorry about my child crying.
That's fine. Yeah, that's
About-
reality.
It gives you a very good foundation on how to discuss the conflict issue in this empathy circle.
Exactly. And then also to address the question of what comes first, the empathy or the relationship, is kind of like mixed in together. You know, it's like if you have agreed, if you value the empathy in the empathy circle, when a conflict comes up, you'll say, okay, I'm willing to take part because you already have experience and value it. So it's kind of they're interrelated, you know, some grounding in empathy, and then also, you know, maybe having a bit of a relationship with the person too. So I don't know, I don't think it's a real one or the other, they're sort of mixed in.
So this gives you a better idea on how to solve this conflict relationship, because when you bring the issue of mental or emotional well-being into this empathy, then you get a very good result in the end.
I feel fully heard, and that's my time too.
Thank you.
So it's your turn to select someone to speak to.
I don't know what more to say, to be honest with you guys.
Well, you can select someone and tell them that exactly. Just tell them you don't know what to say. So first select who you want to speak to.
Okay, Dennis Parker, rather, sorry. Can you?
I'm not sure. Denise, are you there? They're actually in different rooms. I think they're just, I'm not sure that Tori, are you here? Yeah, I don't think they're here. I think that they're actually in a different room. So it's.
Who else do we have in?
We have Pada, Janelle, Kendra, and Anjali.
How about okay, you left. Okay, Kendra, you can go, and I'll be the active listener.
I think you're talking.
You're the speaker. You're the
Yeah.
speaker, and Kendra will listen. You have 3 minutes.
So Dio, what I heard you say was you really don't have anything to say right now, and you're probably a bit distracted by your child, which is a priority. Would that be correct?
Exactly. It's their bedtime.
Got it. So it is your child's bedtime, and you probably need to give that some attention right now. And what you would like to do is you would just like to pass your turn to the next person.
Precisely so. Precisely so. Right on point.
Dio, do you feel fully heard?
Most certainly, I'm fully heard.
Absolutely. Well, thank you. I would like for, let me apologize if I butcher your name, because I think you said it. So Padilla?
Yeah, this is Sopadla here.
Okay. Talking about butchering names, I'm really big on names, and so I apologize that I didn't say your name right, because I grew up in a family of 8 other people, and for some reason my entire family says my name wrong, even though it's spelled Kendria. They think that the I is silent for some reason. So it's Kendria, and that is how my name is actually pronounced. But my family calls me everything under the sun, except that most days.
Yeah. So regarding concerning to shortening the names, you are having 9 members in your family, and many people call you with a different name, and you are fine with that.
Yes. Well, at times, but the proper way to say my name is Kendria. So I want to make sure that like people understand that there's an I there.
All right. So you want to make sure your name is pronounced rightly, that is Kendria, and many people sometimes miss that I, and they might say you're just Kendra, like
Yes.
earlier. Yeah.
Yes. So I feel fully heard. And I would ask that you repeat your name for me one more time so I can ingrain it here.
Yeah, it's Soppadla. 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 Yeah.
Okay, I got it. Thank you so much. I feel fully heard.
Thank you, Andrea. All right, Edwin, do we have some more time or?
Yes, we have
closing?
about 20 minutes. We're still going to go for about 20 minutes. So
yeah,
select whoever you'd like to be your listener.
Okay. Anjali, will you be my listener? Okay. So what is there in my mind is what the name has been came now. So as you all agreeing, my name is hard to pronounce. Even in India, it's very rare name. It's my surname, came from a small village.
So you said that your name is difficult to pronounce. You're from India, but I am also from India, so for me it's not that difficult. I can see Suparna. So, but you know, I see where you're coming from and what you mean. Yeah.
All right. So why I choose to keep second name many places is my first name is more complicated than this, especially when I speak with different countries, right? My name is Mehboob Ali, and people will feel that as more harder than this. In India, it's fine, but when I speak with other people outside India, that time it's more harder.
Yeah. So you said that your name is Mehmood Ali, and that is part of your name. And it is easier for Indians to spell that, but it is not very easy for people outside India to speak that name, or people outside, you know, that culture to speak that name.
Yeah. So yeah, this is how it happened. When I say my name, as you mentioned, it's Mehmood Ali. People will say my name is Mehboob Ali, actually.
Oh, Mehmood Ali.
No, it's Mehboob Ali.
Mehboob Ali.
I'm just kidding here. Yeah.
Okay, never mind. Yeah, there are like so many names. Mehboob.
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Anjali. I feel fully heard.
Okay, thank you. So I'll be the speaker again.
Yes, you need to choose your listener.
So I can talk to Dale.
Okay.
So hi. So yeah, I think I already shared some of what I had to say, but just to add to that, I think empathy has like a lot to offer, and it's something. It's actually one of the moral emotions, and one thing that I find missing in human behavior is the gap between moral intent, moral emotion, and moral action. And I think something like this really sets the stage for that to happen. It may seem like little, like, you know, people are just conversing, but just translate this into something happening between countries, or, you know, different groups, or, you know, race-related talks or conflict. So for me, you know, that's the potential of something like this. Yeah. And thanks for pointing that I have that issue of speed, like when I talk.
Okay. So you feel like empathy has more to offer in terms of people listening and hearing each other. Not only people, also you could use it in terms of country, hearing each other in the world we are today, if I understood enough.
Yes, I feel heard. So you summarized what I just said. Yeah.
Do have 3 minutes, so you can still continue. If there's anything you need to add.
I would like to see if it is better to have empathy circles with peers first, like in real world settings. So first to begin with peers, just to see how that goes. And then gradually you turn that into something that happens between different levels, and how that's going to be useful. Like, I don't know how that's going to look like, but I have a feeling that if people are not prepared, I think there's a lot of preparation that possibly goes before empathy training. but I might be wrong because I'm trying to imagine like in the real world, if you just like send a memo and you say like, oh, show up for a meeting, we are going to have empathy training. I think half of the people in a real world office aren't going to show up. So like, what are the conditions that can be created? For me, that's introducing that in smaller groups or peers, and then creating that culture, and then you introduce, all different kinds of people. That's my
So you felt like empathy should start in a peer group and then progress into probably a community and then probably into a larger world stage. Well, you're kind of right there. I wish empathy could be used in the United Nations more often. Probably there will be a better way to solve conflicts in the world we live in today. So thank you. I did hear you. And
yeah, I feel thank you for listening. Yeah.
Sorry, everyone. It's not bedtime, but she's trying to be part of this meeting.
You can select someone to speak to.
Please, I would rather select someone else to speak. Janelle, please, can you do the honor to speak?
They would like me to do the honors to speak. He's once again busy with his daughter, who's adorable. Is that right, Deo?
Thank you. Yes.
Okay. Then should I start speaking?
Select your listener.
Oh, who hasn't? Kendria. Okay. Would you like to be my listener?
Yes.
Okay. First, I'd like to say I have name issues as well. No one can spell my name right, or they usually pronounce it wrong as well. So I'm part of the name club mispronunciation. I always get the E put on the end of my name, which doesn't belong. Should I pause?
Yes. So what I'm hearing you say is we are family because we are in the same group of either name mispronunciation or misspelling. And you feel safe in allowing, in saying that, hey, sometimes you guys get my name wrong.
Well, you guys have done well. Yes. Yes. I feel your pain, all of you who have the challenging names. I am just trying to think what to say right now. I mean, my faith in humanity has been restored being here today. So many people from so over who just obviously have such amazing hearts and souls, and it just makes me feel good. I've actually been a little verklempt at times listening to everybody. It's good to know there's such good people out there in the world.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you feel really good and you feel really comfortable and you're excited that there's so many people from all across the world right now in this small circle that are wanting to learn about empathy, which this little bit right here is giving you glimpses of hope and restoring your faith in humanity right now.
Yes, that's pretty much it. It's just, I live in California, and many of you might know about the recall that's going on, and it's so political here and it's so tense. It's so scary, and I've just been feeling such a divide. And just knowing that people can work through it, that there's people out there willing to work through it, gives me some hope, because I'm just a little nervous about my state, my country, the world right now. To know that there's pockets of this empathy happening throughout the world gives me some hope that we can heal from all of this.
So what I'm hearing you say is that you're very hopeful, despite what you're feeling right now, despite your feelings of anxiousness and just frustration with what's happening currently in your own state, in your own community, that even with this small group of people from all across the world, you're hopeful that things can be restored, and things can be restored through us just really creating empathy in one person, in one group at a time.
Yes. How to spread that to everybody, I don't know. I actually have one of my closest friends of 30-something years is on the complete opposite political, religious spectrum than me. We're on, and it's been very challenging, but because of empathy and our one-on-one relationship, it's actually gotten me through these last few years, because I know someone who thinks very differently than me, who I don't agree with her at all, but I know her heart. And that relationship is sort of what drives me and has kept me from losing my mind. So I can see, so the empathy circles do a similar thing, creating that with other people.
So what I heard you say is you have someone that kind of helps you with calibration, because although you may not agree with this person, because of empathy and because of active listening, you're able to remove maybe your preconceived notions and biases and just really open yourself up to understanding her point of view with things. Even though you don't agree, you are still able to listen and to still build that relationship. And that's a priority relationship for you at this moment.
Yeah, it's been hard, but using that relationship it's more using that relationship to reflect and to think about in my other relationships with people that it's possible.
So this again is another piece of hope for you, that that there are possibilities of people being different, people feeling different, people believing different things, but also being able to communicate so we can eventually get to some type of, maybe not solution, but agreement that we're able to at least move forward and respect and value what each other feels and sees.
I feel fully heard, Kendria. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I'm going to go back to Anjali. I would love for you to be my active listener. So I'm going to, so one of the things that I do, which I really, really actually like doing, I started doing the study of empathy a couple of years ago, and I took it into corporate organizations to help, actually a finance organization, to help them understand their clients. And as they were going through, which was great, because as they were going through COVID, their clients were taking money out of their retirement funds to go buy things like boats and new homes. And these people were judging them, but these people said, you know, we're at the end of our lives and we don't know if we're going to make it to next year. So we want to take our money out. And my point was to show them empathy and to help them understand, you know, understand where your client is coming from.
So hi, Kendria. You explained and you were trying to convey that you studied empathy and you took it to the corporate firm or in that domain, and there people were using their retirement funds for buying boats and other forms of luxury, and you understood and they had expressed that it was because they felt that it was the end of, you know, their you know, it was, you know, their last years perhaps, and so they wanted to use that money, and you wanted to create dialogue between them and the company.
Absolutely. I also recently did a training a couple months ago for a county here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And there was an attorney on the call who was an assistant DA. And she made the comment that if you don't have empathy by the time you're 5 years old, you're not going to have empathy. And I could not believe that this person was an assistant DA. And she believed that if you don't have empathy now, you're not going to have it. I personally believe that empathy is something you can continue to build and practice on, which is why I'm so interested in these empathy circles.
So one thing that really surprised is that an assistant DA you met said that if you don't have empathy by age 5, you cannot have it. And so that is something that you don't believe in because you think empathy can be you know, worked on. It is something that can be developed. And just to add to that, empathy is a very complex moral emotion. So it fully develops after, I think, 6 to 7 years of age. A lot of moral emotions develop after that age. So even in
You don't want
difference,
to. You don't
yeah.
want to. You don't want to reply. You just want to reflect when it's your turn to speak. Then you
Okay,
can
okay.
add your own
Okay,
comments.
great, fine, great. But I was like, that's yeah. I just couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. So you you said that you couldn't believe, that she said that, and you think that empathy has a lot of potential, something that can develop even later on.
Absolutely. So I think these circles, I think they will help make me more aware of having empathy for a person that makes a comment like that, but also helping to create a person that makes a comment like that have more empathy and be more intentional about listening, so that we can progress what empathy is and how it will impact us later on.
You try to add to what you explained before, is that how empathy can be useful even later on. And I think I missed the first part, but you think that it is still surprising that somebody of that, somebody with, somebody who should have all that knowledge about, what empathy can do, did not understand that. And so let me know if yeah.
No, that's absolutely right. Someone in that position has that perception. So I feel absolutely heard and understood, especially by your excitement.
Okay. And sorry for, inserting my own views in there, but that was a good learning experience, because this is the sort of thing you want to learn. So that was good. Thank you for that.
Absolutely. No, thank you.
So Anjali, select your listener. Now you can share all those ideas. Now it's your turn to share those with whoever you wish.
Yeah, so it was great to listen to
who are you speaking to? Who are you speaking to?
I can speak to anyone. I can speak to Supadla. I can speak to Supadla. So yeah, we were talking about empathy, and it is true that a lot of people do not have a true appreciation for what empathy is as an emotion, and that is why it is important to actually also spread information about how it is as an emotion, when it develops, how it. I mean, and I might be if I'm wrong with the exact year, just sorry about that, but 5 to, like somebody saying that after 5 nothing happens in empathy, that's wrong, because a lot of the emotions become more textured and complex. I think that's a safer way of saying that, instead of choosing like the time. So later on, emotions become more complex because we have more experiences, we understand others better. Yeah, so I think the more we interact with different people, the more opportunities we get to exercise empathy. So it is something that you build on throughout your life.
Okay, so you're telling as age increases, basically people will have lots of different experiences, and you feel most of the people do not encourage empathy to be practiced, and you want to spread the word about this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And again, the basics of empathy might show up early on, but the complexity of it happens as we interact more, as we develop, our brain changes and things like that.
Yeah, so people might experience or exhibit the basic thing of the empathy, but the complexity, the deeper level of the understanding will vary as time goes or the experience increases.
Yes, exactly. So I feel fully heard. Yeah.
Thank you, Anjali.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to be closing in about 2 minutes. So maybe we could just do a quick debrief at this point. Like we'll be doing a debrief in the full circle. How was the experience for you, Supadla? If you just share a few words about how has this been for you so far?
Yeah, I mean, I will take my personal experience. When I joined earlier, right, I basically started to scribble in a notepad what people are saying. so that I remember when I reflect back. But I see a gradual improvement in my, at least I will summarize, I will picturize what is this content about. That's how I am growing personally. That's my take on this. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, nice, thanks. Janelle? You're muted.
No, this has been a wonderful experience. I definitely have been a little stressed out though, because listening is a skill I need to do better at. So I was really focused on trying to listen, and I need to find to do it in a way that doesn't stress me out as much. I need to get better at it, but I loved hearing from everybody. It was really great.
Thanks. Dio?
Just to be an active listener to what people say here, and just to be patient enough to listen instead of talking. I think that's a new skill for me right now, and I'm really liking this, and I'm looking forward to be very more active in the next session.
Thank you. Kendria?
This was awesome. This was my second circle, and I feel like I learned so much, and I had a lot of takeaways. So I greatly appreciate it. This was really, really good.
Okay, thank you. And Angelia?
Yeah, so this was very helpful, and I think the more you do this, the better you get at, empathy circles. So that's what I learned, and then it also helped me understand that when you are having sessions like these, you're supposed to gather information from here and not always, go back to your own thoughts, because that can be a distraction. So I'll work on that next time. Yeah.
Great. Yeah, it's a practice. It's like exercise. Is how I see empathy is like we all have the empathy muscles, and it's just you practice them. You can strengthen them, or they can atrophy. So yeah, it's just so practice just helps strengthen those. So thank you everyone in our circle for taking part. The others will come back in about 20 seconds. I think everyone should be coming back. And let me get the our question.
Yeah, Edwin, you added Anjali also in our difficult naming team.
Yeah, we had the naming team. That was our topic. It was great. My last name was always mispronounced too in school. I always mispronounced it. So, okay, I think are we all back? So welcome back, everyone. Celine, do you want to take this part? We want to just hear everybody. I'm going to put the question in, take 30 seconds to share any learnings or insights about the Empathy Circle, or what did you like about the circle? And Celine will be leading this.
Okay, so everybody gets, what did you say, a full 30 seconds, half a minute. And I will call your name. Let me see, you're disappearing. So I'm going to ask Gary first. Would you tell us something about what you learned or enjoyed in your empathy circle?
What I enjoyed in the Empathy Circle was the fact that someone could actually feel some of the feelings that I was going through, and they mentioned it, and that I was heard. It felt rewarding that somebody's actually listening to me and understood me.
All right. Thank you, Gary. And Anjali, would you be willing to share with us about your experience?
Sure. So what I understood was how listening is something that we think of it as very simple, but it's something that can be crucial in setting the stage for a good dialogue, because sometimes in everyday life we miss listening and take decisions based on our assumptions, and we think that we have listened but we haven't, and that can create a lot of problems. So I was trying to gain that sort of from my own experience, like how I was listening, because I have this habit of going back into my own thoughts, and I was like, oh my god, maybe there are other people who have that experience. So listening is very, very important, because it ensures that you have understood what the problem is and what's coming in your direction. So that's what I learned.
Okay, great. Thank you very much, Anjali. And so Padla, would you be willing to share 30 seconds of your experience, please?
Hey, thank you, Celine. Yeah, I'm part of this circle for a couple of times. One thing I see improvement in myself is the listening. Listening without judgments, without giving any advice. And earlier I used to script in Notepad, basically. A kind of paraphrasing I used to do earlier, but now I'm trying to bring what I understood. So that's what I feel, not like in myself, whatever in changes in me. That's what I wanted to bring. I do have a questions. Once we have everyone.
Please, yeah, would you please hold it so that I can get to everybody, and then hopefully we get to your question. Thank you.
If you have time, we can come back. Yeah, thank you.
Great. Kendria, would you share with us half a minute about your experience, please?
It was another great experience. I think what I learned overall this time was there are so many distractions to thoughtful and intentional listening. And there are external distractions and there are internal distractions, like our judgments, like Sopatla just said, and our own biases. And empathy just takes practice. And this is a type of practice to continue learning to be empathetic.
Right. Thank you, Kendria. Janelle, would you please share?
Yeah, hi. I've just been thinking how listening and responding, I always kind of put them together, but they can be two completely separate things. There's a time to listen and there's a time to respond. And today I was trying just to focus on listening and not my own thoughts about things, which is so hard for me, to quiet my mind and not be thinking, oh, that's an interesting point, and responding. So I want to focus more on just listening in all my conversations, and try to turn off the responding piece of my brain, which is going to be a really hard thing to do.
Great. Thank you so much, Janelle. Alfred, would you please share with us about your experience?
I wrote them down real quickly. One is start early with children. 2, you don't have to agree, just listen. 3, listen, don't fix. Focus, do active listening and stay focused, and use the person's words so they actually feel that it's them coming right back at them.
Thank you, Alfred. Appreciate it. Dio, would you please share with us about your insights and experience?
The experience I had so far for you to listen and also for you to speak and be heard. That was a very wonderful experience for me so far. That's all I have to say.
All right. Thank you very much, Dio. Tracy, would you please share with us?
I think it was a really good experience. One thing I got out of it was it's okay to let someone know that they didn't quite hear you as well. They didn't understand what you said. That's a part of the communication process. So that was really good.
Yeah. Thank you, Tracy. Donnie, would you please tell us about your experience in half a minute?
I thought the experience that I had with my first time in the Empathy Circle was really great. We were able to cooperate and talk openly about issues personally and societal issues, and how we, through empathy, can connect and communicate our feelings and our ideas. And so we can build a community, a little empathy circle, and talk about it.
Great. Thank you, Donnie. Debbie, would you please share with us?
Sure. I agree with everything that's been said. I also found it a very safe environment. The active listening and speaking, it just without judgment, seemed like a very safe space to share and be heard.
Thank you. Thank you, Debbie. Rika, would you please share with us?
Thank you. I felt that it is a wonderful way to connect, to normalize, to build bridges and to heal. Thank you. It was lovely.
Thank you, Rika. And Beverly, would you please tell us about your experience?
Sure. Before I joined today, I felt like I was the only one who had this problem, that I was the only one who had trouble being an empathetic listener. But I learned that I'm not the only one and that it is something that we can practice, and with practice, we'll get better.
Thank you, Beverly. And Annie, would you please tell us about your experience?
Yeah, I really loved it. I think I'm a college student, so it's really easy to be only surrounded by people who are the same age as you and are kind of in the same bubble of perspective. But for instance, in our room, I was able to hear Gary's perspective as a parent. And even though I couldn't fully empathize with that yet, it was really nice, like very, very nice to hear his story and be able to kind of apply what he was saying to my experience as a daughter and a sister. So I think overall it was just a very fulfilling experience, and I'd love to do it again.
Oh, great. Thank you very much, Annie. Melissa, would you please tell us about your insights and learnings?
Okay, so what I learned is it was very interesting because when we listen to each other, when we actually listen to each other, then we realize that we actually think and feel the same way. And when we do that, then there won't be as much conflicts. The reason we have conflicts is we miss out some things people try to tell us in our rush and hurry in life. We're in such a rush that we miss out on what people are trying to tell us, and we misunderstand.
Thank you, Melissa. Thank you very much. Sally, would you tell us briefly about your experience?
Well, I kind of had the feeling that, well, there were a couple people that I felt really needed to talk for maybe the whole day about their experiences and things. There were a lot, well, these were new people with unresolved questions. And anyway, I hope they come back, and that just basically it just unwinds pain from people and explains a lot and teaches listening. And
thank you, Sally. And Nicole, would you please share with us your insights and learnings?
Sure. I want to compartmentalize things. And what I got from it was from Red, when Red shared with someone in our group, I was able to see things that I do. When I shared with Gary, I was able to understand what it feels like for someone to share and have someone actively listen to them. So I thought this was a very good group or exercise, and I thank you for it.
Thank you, Nicole. Christina, would you share with us, please, about your learning?
I learned today that I have a lot more to learn. I will definitely come back and keep practicing, because I think that's the most important piece. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here.
Okay, thank you, Christina, for being here. And Rosie, would you please share with us?
Thanks. Yeah, I think I learned the power of slowing down and repeating back what the other person said as a tool of listening. because that being present with each other is being lost more and more in our social media world. And I found that discipline of not even trying to phrase it in your own words, but to just really hear exactly what the person is saying in their words is a powerful, powerful listening tool.
Thank you, Rosie. Denise, would you share with us, please, about your learnings and insights?
I learned and was reinforced with the idea that we need to continue, no matter what age we are, to practice listening, because often speaking is easier to do. And we forget, especially I'm a curvilinear thinker, so I don't go from just straight A to B. I take a circular path around and around until I get to the end, and sometimes I don't reach the end. So when you practice this listening here of talking and then talking and listening, I think it really helps us to learn how we think, how we process information, and then how to listen better and also make points better.
Thank you, Denise. And Peggy, would you please tell us about your experience in 30 seconds?
Yes, ma'am. I learned today about this training and how important it is when we're working with others and to make others feel that they are heard and valued. And we don't always agree with what is being said, but we afford others the opportunity to be heard.
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much, Peggy. Raed, would you please share with us about your experience in the circle?
So I was in the circle with Annie, Kikol, Christina, and Carrie. First rounds, we talked about the circle, and when we were joining the circle, we got some feedback. Everybody gave their thoughts about how things went, and we were transparent. The second round, we went more into personal issues, and the conversation was transparent, was smooth, and it felt lovely.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Larry, would you please share with us?
Yeah, we had an amazing circle, and you know, it's just amazing. 30 seconds couldn't describe it, but there was a lot of open-hearted sharing about the atrocities that human beings have committed amongst one another. And how do we get beyond this hurt other people syndrome so that we can live empathically, peacefully together? Thank you.
Thank you, Larry. Bill, do I see you? There you are. Hi, Bill. Would you please give us your 30 seconds?
Sure. Well, I'm always very appreciative. Yes, we're teaching this and it is a skill, but what you each bring to it is so important. And that's what keeps me going, because each person is unique and brings stuff. And it also helps me counteract the kind of media blitz that I get that tells me that everything is going to hell in a handbasket. When I look at you and your faces, I know that that's not true. I know a lot of people are asking, well, some people are asking about the issue about empathy in schools and kids. And I have some adaptations. I put in the chat, if you look under chat, my information, that's my email. And also when I'm holding my regular Thursday at 10 a.m. Sessions. And so welcome to email me or do whatever to get there. And then if you can't, on the in the chat, there are 3 dots. And if you see that, there'll be a list and you can say save chat. And so you can easily save all the information in the chat that way. Thanks. And thanks for everybody again.
Thank you, Bill. I'll go and we'll finish with Edwin. Well, as always, I loved our circle, and I felt that we touched on many different aspects of the value of an empathy circle, and especially in work situations and diversity and inclusion programs. It was very enjoyable and enlightening. So, and Edwin now.
Okay, thanks, Celine. And yeah, it was a really lovely empathy circle. We enjoyed it. And somebody had said, somebody shared a story of a DA, a district attorney, saying, oh, empathy only, you only learn it up to about 5 years old. And if you don't have it after that, you don't have it. But that's not really accurate. I would say a better metaphor or understanding of empathy, that it's like a muscle. We all have muscles, but we can exercise those muscles. We can strengthen the muscles. And that's what the empathy circle is. It's an exercise for strengthening those muscles. You know, it's sort of a foundational exercise. And it has a lot of benefits. You know, it has health benefits. You'll feel better. It contributes to the conflict resolution. And I think it's physically healthy as well. So it is a practice we're trying to spread as widely as possible. And I'm going to put in the link to the training cohort, which is going to start, the next one starts September 20th. So there's a link there that you can click through to sign up. Next 2 weeks, we'll be having these intro cafes on Mondays. And then after that, we'll be starting on Saturdays as well. There'll be an intro cafe for, I think, about 2 months before we'll be doing a empathy training on Saturdays. Right now, we're finishing one up next week, and then we'll have some open cafes. So I hope you'll come back, you know, keep exercising those empathy circle muscles. Take the practice to your family and friends, and you know, try it out. If you go to the empathycircle.com website, there's all kinds of material on how to hold your own empathy circles. Come back, report back on your experiences, and I think that's pretty much all I have. And I'm really grateful for everyone being here. So, Bill, any final words?
Just thank you all.
And Celine, our other trainer.
The same. I'm really happy to see everybody here and the enthusiasm and interest in this. Heartwarming for me.
And Larry.
Thank you all. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
And Raid.
Grateful and appreciative. Thank you, guys.
So we'd like to end with jazz hands. If you have your video off, you could just turn it on for a second so you get a group portrait of sort of our jazz hands, sort of synchronized motion here. It's always good for creating empathic connection. If you can turn your video on. So we'll see you next week. And if the facilitators can stay back, we'll have a debrief about this. So bye, everyone. Thanks.
Bye.
Look forward to seeing you again.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Have a great
Bye.
Bye.
See y'all, you guys. Have a good one.
Bye, Gary.
You too, Gary.
Thank you. You too.